And now there's this. A Quinnipiac poll found that just 12% of the people in this country are now citing the economy as the biggest issue facing this country. That is a record low. I want to bring in Brian Domitrovic, Laffer Center for Supply Side Economics Senior Associate. Brian, I hope I didn't botch your name too badly. I want to ask you about this because I think, ironically, this 12%, and I thought it was a Gallup poll, but I thought this 12% number actually could backfire on the Republicans because it's no longer that important going into the midterm elections.
Yeah, everybody forgets about the economy when it turns out to be great. That's what Donald Rumsfeld used to say about air. You know, when it's really plentiful, you don't worry about it. It's only when the economy tanks that people really get angry. But let me tell you something. The American people love their prosperity. If we have consecutive 4% quarters of growth, the American people are going to get into it like never before.
So then what do you think then when we do see broader polls, particularly political polls that suggest that the Republicans are struggling here? It just seems to me with this sort of job creation, with the folks coming back into the labor force, wages are going up. Is it just that the Republicans aren't articulating this enough?
Well, let's remember something about the polling business. It has now matured throughout the very slow growth period of the long 2000s, the last 18 years when we've had slow growth. So the polling business isn't ready for big-time economic growth. So maybe the polling business hasn't captured the excitement that this electorate really will have if we have 4 to 5% growth like we did in the early Ronald Reagan years.
Well, I got to agree. You know, and just anecdotally, I know voters are going to be driving by malls, by shopping centers, and all you see are help wanted signs out there. In fact, the same poll says 64% now is the best time to find a job, and that's another record high. So what does that tell you? Because this optimism, people are feeling it. Forget about the headlines. They are feeling it, aren't they?
We're seeing not only optimism right now, but the conquering of pessimism, which is two different things. Over the long Great Recession semi-recovery for 8 years, pessimism really got entrenched. I mean, that's hard to pick up off the floor. So when you have optimism coupled with people deciding, I'm going to go out there and take a whack at the ball again, that's a double-barreled push, and I think we're going to have a lot of enthusiasm for this economy way into next year and the years beyond if we have 4 or 5% growth every year.
To your point, Brian, the sentiment number from the University of Michigan, the highest since 2004, but what people miss is that we still haven't reached the 2000 high. Does that suggest we have like just exponential upside potential here?
Well, sure. I mean, the labor force participation has just sunk like a stone throughout this entire millennium. We have a lot of people who simply quit on the idea of going to work. That's one of the reasons the unemployment rate is so low, because it only tracks people who are still into getting a job. We're going to pull people out of the woodwork on the order of 5 to 10 million. That is going to lead to so much productivity and prosperity in this economy. It's going to remind us of the way it used to be.
Brian, just a quick question. Do you worry about the Fed thinking we're too prosperous and trying to slow this thing down, overheating, we're getting too hot because we're too prosperous?
Yeah, I'm worried about the dollar. The dollar has to stay stable against gold, against the euro, against the yen. If the Fed has anything to do with that, just stabilize the dollar against gold. Why not $1,200 an ounce? If it does that, this economy will run like never before.
So the rate hikes don't matter as long as they don't destabilize the dollar. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's plenty of euro-dollar liquidity. Just stabilize the dollar against the classic measures, especially gold. Everything's going to work out great.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Great stuff.